In the spring of 1901, a group of sponge divers sailing through the deep blue waters of the Aegean Sea decided to stop near a small rocky island between Greece and Crete. The island was called Antikythera, and at the time it was nothing more than a quiet, isolated place known mostly to fishermen. The divers were searching for natural sea sponges, a valuable commodity in the Mediterranean world during that era. Wearing heavy copper diving suits and primitive breathing helmets, they descended slowly into the dark waters below. At first, the ocean floor appeared ordinary, but then something strange appeared out of the darkness. One diver suddenly came rushing back to the surface, visibly shaken. When the crew asked what he had seen, he struggled to describe it. According to reports from the time, he said that the seabed was littered with statues of horses and human bodies. The captain initially thought the diver was suffering from nitrogen intoxication, something that sometimes happened to early deep-sea divers. But when another diver descended to investigate, he returned with the same astonishing story. There was a shipwreck, and not just any shipwreck. It appeared to be an ancient Roman cargo ship, lying on the seabed for nearly 2,000 years. Soon, Greek authorities organized an official underwater excavation. Over the following months, divers carefully lifted artifacts from the wreck. They recovered marble statues, bronze sculptures, jewelry, coins, ceramics. The ship appeared to have been carrying treasures from the Greek world back to Rome sometime around the 1st century BC. For historians, the discovery was extraordinary, but among all the beautiful artifacts pulled from the wreck, there was one object that looked almost completely worthless. It was a small, heavily corroded lump of bronze and wood fused together by centuries under the sea. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a broken piece of scrap metal. No one realized that this ugly greenish lump would eventually become one of the most important technological discoveries in human history. The object was transported to the National Archaeological Museum of Athens, where archaeologists began cleaning and cataloging the artifacts recovered from the shipwreck. For months, the mysterious bronze lump sat quietly among the other artifacts. Then something unexpected happened. As the object dried out, it began to crack inside the cracked fragments. Archaeologists noticed something impossible. Tiny bronze gears, perfectly cut gear teeth, mechanical components. The archaeologists were stunned. Ancient Greek artifacts sometimes contained simple mechanical devices, but nothing even remotely like this. As researchers carefully separated the fragments, they discovered that the object was not just a random collection of gears. It was an incredibly complex machine. Over time, scientists realized that the device had once been enclosed in a wooden box about the size of a shoebox. On the outside were rotating dials and inscriptions written in ancient Greek. Inside the box was an intricate network of bronze gears connected in precise mathematical ratios. The level of engineering was breathtaking. Some gears had more than 200 finely cut teeth. Even more astonishing, the gears were arranged in ways that suggested the machine was performing calculations. But calculations of what? For decades, historians struggled to understand the purpose of this mysterious device. The technology seemed completely out of place in the ancient world. According to the traditional view of history, complex mechanical machines like this should not have existed until more than 1,000 years later. Yet here it was, a precision instrument from antiquity. It would take nearly a century before scientists fully understood what the device was capable of doing. In the 1950s, a British historian of science named Eric J. de Sola Price began studying the fragments using early X-ray imaging techniques. Price was able to peer inside the corroded bronze pieces without damaging them. What he saw shocked him. The gears formed an incredibly sophisticated mechanical system designed to model astronomical cycles. In other words, the ancient machine was calculating the movements of celestial bodies. It could track the motion of the sun, the moon, and even predict solar and lunar eclipses. Price famously described the device as a kind of ancient Greek computer. Today the machine is known as the Antikythera Mechanism, and it has completely changed how historians understand ancient technology. Before this discovery, scholars believed that ancient mechanical engineering was relatively simple. The Greeks had built clever devices like water clocks and simple mechanical toys, but nothing approaching the complexity of a computational machine. The Antikythera Mechanism shattered that assumption. Modern scans have revealed that the device originally contained more than 30 bronze gears arranged in multiple layers. These gears work together to simulate the movements of the heavens. When the user turned a small hand crank, the gears rotated in carefully calculated ratios. Dials on the front and back of the machine would then display astronomical information, including the phases of the moon, the timing of eclipses, and the positions of celestial bodies. In essence, the machine allowed its user to predict the future movements of the cosmos. For ancient astronomers, this would have been an incredibly powerful tool. But the deeper scientists studied the device, the more puzzling it became, because nothing else like it has ever been found from that time period, not even close. The precision gear-cutting techniques used in the Antikythera Mechanism would not reappear in Europe until the development of medieval clockmaking in the 14th century. That means the ancient Greeks possessed a level of mechanical engineering that was over 1,500 years ahead of its time. So the obvious question is, where did this knowledge come from? And perhaps even more mysterious, why did it disappear? Some historians believe the technology may have originated in the scientific centers of the Hellenistic world, places like Rhodes, which was famous for its astronomers and engineers. Others suspect that brilliant inventors such as Archimedes may have pioneered similar mechanisms. Ancient texts even describe Archimedes building mechanical devices capable of modeling the movements of planets. If those descriptions are accurate, the Antikythera Mechanism might represent the last surviving example of a lost technological tradition. A tradition that once existed in the ancient world but vanished during centuries of war, political collapse, and cultural upheaval. Because after the Roman era, devices of this complexity simply disappear from the historical record. For more than a millennium, humanity would build nothing comparable. And so the small corroded object recovered from the seabed near Antikythera remains one of the most extraordinary archaeological discoveries ever made. A machine from the ancient world, a machine that should not exist. And yet, somehow, more than 2,000 years ago, someone built it. When historians first realized what had been recovered from the shipwreck near the island of Antikythera, they were stunned. The corroded fragments of bronze and wood were not simply decorative artifacts or broken tools. Instead, they belonged to something far more extraordinary. What archaeologists had discovered was a machine. But not just any machine. It was a machine designed to calculate the movements of the universe. Today we call it the Antikythera Mechanism, and many historians believe it is the world's first computer. To understand why this claim is so extraordinary, we need to look at what a computer actually is. Most people think of computers as modern electronic devices, laptops, smartphones, or powerful supercomputers. But at its core, a computer is simply a machine that performs calculations. And that is exactly what the Antikythera Mechanism did. Except, instead of using electricity and silicon chips, it used bronze gears and mechanical motion. The machine worked through an intricate system of gears connected in precise mathematical relationships. Each gear had carefully cut teeth that meshed perfectly with another gear. When one gear rotated, it caused the others to move in predictable patterns. By carefully designing these gear ratios, ancient engineers were able to create a system that simulated astronomical cycles. In other words, the device turned mechanical motion into mathematical predictions. Imagine holding a wooden box about the size of a thick book. On the front of the box is a circular dial marked with ancient Greek symbols representing the zodiac and the months of the year. There is also a small handle on the side. When the user turns the handle, the gears inside begin to move. Slowly, the dials on the front start rotating. Tiny pointers move across the surface of the dial, indicating the positions of celestial bodies. With a single turn of the crank, the machine begins to simulate the movement of the sun, the moon, and possibly even the planets. To someone living more than 2,000 years ago, this would have seemed almost magical. But in reality, it was the result of brilliant engineering and advanced mathematical understanding. The ancient Greeks had been studying the movements of the heavens for centuries. Astronomers carefully recorded the positions of stars and planets, searching for patterns in their motion. Over time, they discovered that celestial movements followed predictable cycles. For example, the moon goes through phases: new moon, half moon, full moon, over a period of about 29.5 days. Eclipses also occur in repeating cycles that can be predicted with enough astronomical data. The challenge was calculating these cycles accurately. That is where the Antikythera mechanism came in. By translating astronomical cycles into gear ratios, the machine allowed users to physically model the motion of the sky. Instead of performing complicated calculations by hand, the operator could simply turn a crank and watch the results appear on the dial. This is why historians describe the device as an analog computer. Unlike modern digital computers, which use binary numbers and electronic signals, analog computers represent data using continuous physical movement. In the Antikythera mechanism, the motion of the gears represented the motion of celestial bodies. As the gears turned, they recreated the mathematical relationships between different astronomical cycles. One of the most remarkable features of the machine was its ability to predict eclipses. Solar and lunar eclipses occur when the Sun, Earth, and Moon align in specific ways. Predicting these events requires understanding complex orbital patterns. Yet the Antikythera mechanism could display these cycles using a special dial located on the back of the device. This dial tracked what is known as the Ross cycle, a repeating period of about 18 years, during which similar eclipses occur again. When the gears of the machine rotated through this cycle, the dial would indicate when an eclipse was likely to happen. For ancient societies, eclipses were powerful and mysterious events. Many cultures believed they were signs from the gods or omens of great change, but the creators of the Antikythera mechanism had found a way to predict these cosmic events with mechanical precision. Another incredible feature of the device was its ability to track the phases of the Moon. The Moon does not simply orbit the Earth in a perfect circle. Its motion is slightly irregular, speeding up and slowing down during different parts of its orbit. To model this complex motion, the engineers behind the Antikythera mechanism used an advanced mechanical system known as a differential gear. This type of gear system would not appear again in mechanical technology until many centuries later. The presence of such engineering sophistication suggests that the ancient Greeks possessed knowledge of mechanical design that historians once thought impossible for that era. Modern researchers studying the device have used advanced imaging technology, including high-resolution X-rays and 3D scanning to examine its internal structure. These studies revealed that the machine originally contained at least 30 interlocking gears arranged in multiple layers inside the wooden case. Each gear served a specific purpose, translating one astronomical cycle into another. The front dial likely displayed the zodiac calendar, allowing users to see the position of the Sun and Moon relative to the stars. The back of the device contained additional dials showing longer astronomical cycles, including eclipse predictions and lunar phases. Even more astonishing are the inscriptions found on the fragments of the maki. Scientists discovered thousands of tiny Greek letters engraved on the metal surfaces, functioning almost like a user manual. These inscriptions explained how the device worked and what the different dials represented. In other words, the machine came with its own instruction guide. For centuries, historians believed that such advanced mechanical technology first appeared in medieval Europe, especially in the development of complex clocks during the 1300s. But the Antikythera mechanism proves that similar engineering existed over 1,000 years earlier. It suggests that the ancient world may have possessed a much deeper tradition of mechanical science than we previously realized. Some historians believe that devices like the Antikythera mechanism were used for education, helping students visualize the movements of the cosmos. Others think the machine may have served practical purposes, allowing astronomers and navigators to track celestial cycles important for calendars and navigation. It is also possible that the device had philosophical significance. For many ancient Greek thinkers, the universe was believed to operate according to mathematical harmony. By building a machine that could model the cosmos, its creators may have been demonstrating the deep connection between mathematics, nature, and human knowledge. In that sense, the Antikythera mechanism was more than just a tool. It was a physical representation of the ancient Greek vision of the universe, a universe governed by patterns, cycles, and mathematical order. But perhaps the most astonishing part of this story is not simply that the machine existed, it is that almost nothing like it appears again for more than 1,500 years. After the fall of the classical world and the political upheavals that followed, this level of mechanical engineering seems to vanish from the historical record. No other ancient device discovered so far matches the complexity of the Antikythera mechanism. It stands alone, an isolated masterpiece of engineering from a civilization that clearly understood far more about mechanics than we once believed. Even today, scientists are still learning from it. Researchers continue to reconstruct its missing parts, using computer models to simulate how the complete machine might have looked and functioned. Every new discovery reveals more about the incredible ingenuity of its creators. And yet one question still remains. If ancient engineers were capable of building such a sophisticated machine, how many other inventions like this once existed, and what happened to them? When the Antikythera mechanism was first discovered, most historians assumed it was a remarkable curiosity, a clever mechanical toy perhaps, or a minor astronomical instrument. But as research progressed, one fact became impossible to ignore. This device was centuries ahead of its time. To fully understand just how advanced it was, we need to compare it to the technology that followed it in history. The ancient world's mechanical limits around 200 BC. The known mechanical world consisted primarily of simple devices, water clocks that measured time through flowing water, windlasses and pulleys used to lift heavy loads, simple mechanical toys that moved using gears powered by human or animal effort. But these devices were mostly practical tools or curiosities. They did not calculate, predict, or simulate complex natural systems. The Antikythera mechanism, in contrast, contained at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, each precisely cut and arranged in mathematically exact ratios. This was not a simple gear train. It was a mechanical calculator, capable of modeling celestial movements. To put it in perspective, the technology required to make such a machine, in major gears, differential gearing, precise ratios, would not reappear in Europe for more than a millennium. Why it was ahead of its time? Historians and engineers have spent decades analyzing the device. Through techniques like high-resolution X-rays and 3D reconstructions, they discovered several features that were decades, if not centuries, ahead of any comparable technology. Differential gears, one of the most sophisticated features of the mechanism, was the differential gear system, used to calculate the moon's irregular orbit. Differential gears were not seen again until the 16th-17th century, during the European development of mechanical clocks and early astronomical calculators. Advanced gear ratios. Each gear was designed with precision to represent astronomical cycles. Medieval clockmakers, when they finally started creating complex astronomical clocks, had to reinvent these principles from scratch. More than 1,500 years later, miniaturization, the device packed intricate mechanical computations into a small box, roughly the size of a shoebox. Comparable precision engineering would not be seen until the Industrial Revolution. Predictive computation, the mechanism could predict eclipses and lunar phases, demonstrating a level of applied mathematics that far surpassed what was standard in the ancient world. Modern comparisons to understand how exceptional the Antikythera mechanism was. Historians often compare it to medieval astronomical clocks, which appeared around 1300 AD in Europe. These clocks were marvels of engineering in their own right, yet the Antikythera mechanism predates them by over 1,500 years. Where medieval clockmakers had to painstakingly develop gear-cutting techniques and mathematical knowledge to create complex timepieces, the ancient Greeks had already mastered it. This raises profound questions. How did they acquire such knowledge? Why did this technology disappear? The answers remain largely mysterious. Lost knowledge of the Hellenistic era. The Antikythera mechanism belonged to the Hellenistic period of Greek civilization, a time marked by extraordinary scientific achievement. Cities like Alexandria were home to libraries, observatories, and schools of mathematics. Inventors, astronomers, and philosophers studied the heavens and developed increasingly sophisticated methods to understand the universe. Some historians speculate that the mechanism represents the apex of Hellenistic mechanical knowledge, a technology that was highly specialized and possibly only understood by a few elite engineers. Once these centers of learning declined due to political upheaval, wars, and the eventual fall of the Roman Empire, the knowledge may have simply vanished from human memory. The technology gap. The disappearance of this knowledge created a technological gap in human history. For centuries after the Antikythera mechanism, there is little evidence of complex geared machines anywhere in the world. Mechanical clocks in Europe re-emerged in the 14th century, over 1,500 years later. Sophisticated astronomical devices with moving gears did not appear again until the Renaissance, when engineers in Italy and Germany began creating planetary clocks and orreries. This gap underscores just how far ahead the Antikythera mechanism truly was. It is not merely an ancient calculator, it is a reminder that technological progress is not always linear. Implications for history. The device forces historians to rethink the standard narrative of technological development. Ancient civilizations were capable of precision engineering, far beyond what was previously assumed. Knowledge can be lost or forgotten, even when it is highly advanced. Our understanding of history may underestimate the capabilities of past societies. It also challenges the assumption that human technology naturally progresses in a straight line. In this case, humanity peaked in mechanical complexity around 200 BC, only to experience a long period of stagnation before rediscovering these concepts centuries later. Modern lessons today. The Antikythera mechanism serves as a lesson for both historians and engineers. Human ingenuity has existed in cycles. Lost technologies can sometimes surpass what we take for granted in the modern era, and the universe itself, through its regular patterns, can be understood and predicted without electricity, computers, or modern materials. By studying the mechanism, researchers are learning not just about astronomy or engineering, but about the potential of human creativity when applied with precision and imagination. It's a humbling reminder that our ancestors may have understood more than we often give them credit for. Conclusion. The Antikythera mechanism is a symbol of knowledge far ahead of its time. It demonstrates that the Hellenistic Greeks achieved mechanical sophistication centuries before Europe would catch up. That technological progress is not a straight line, but a path with peaks, losses, and rediscoveries. That even ancient civilizations, often underestimated, were capable of extraordinary innovation. When we look at the mechanism today, we are not just seeing a machine, we are seeing a bridge across millennia of lost knowledge, a window into a world where humans understood the universe in ways that were centuries ahead of their time. When we examine the Antikythera mechanism, it's impossible to separate the machine from the minds that built it. This wasn't a simple tool, it was a triumph of human ingenuity, a product of ancient Greek engineering at its absolute peak. To understand the mechanism, we must first understand the world that reduced it. The Hellenistic era, a breeding ground for genius. The Antikythera mechanism was created during the Hellenistic period, roughly 300–100 BC, a time of scientific curiosity, mathematical exploration, and technological experimentation. Cities like Alexandria and Rhodes were intellectual hubs. Scholars, astronomers, and engineers congregated there, sharing knowledge from across the Mediterranean. Libraries and observatories flourished. The Library of Alexandria was legendary, reportedly containing hundreds of thousands of scrolls and manuscripts. Scientists had access to centuries of accumulated knowledge, from Babylonian astronomy to Egyptian mathematics. It was in this environment that the seeds of the Antikythera mechanism were planted. The philosophical roots of Greek engineering. Ancient Greek engineering wasn't just about practical tools. It was driven by a philosophy. The universe was ordered, mathematical, and comprehensible. Thinkers like Aristotle and Archimedes emphasized understanding the world through logic, mathematics, and observation. The Antikythera mechanism embodies this philosophy. It isn't random gears, it is a physical model of the cosmos, turning abstract astronomical knowledge into mechanical reality. Every gear, every ratio, and every dial represents careful study and deep mathematical insight. Archimedes and the spirit of innovation. Many scholars speculate that Archimedes or his contemporaries influenced the mechanism's design. Archimedes is famous for inventing devices like the compound pulley, screw pumps, and war machines, all examples of applying mathematics to solve practical problems. If Archimedes or his followers were involved, the Antikythera mechanism would be an extension of a culture that viewed mechanical invention as a form of scientific expression. The mechanics behind the genius. Let's consider the machine itself. It contained over 30 interlocking bronze gears, a level of sophistication unseen until medieval Europe. It modeled irregular lunar cycles, which required an early form of differential gearing. The inscriptions on the mechanism served as user manuals, showing an understanding of knowledge transmission and teaching. Creating such a device required multidisciplinary brilliance. The engineer had to understand astronomy, to know the celestial cycles, to model mathematics, to calculate gear ratios and orbital periods, metallurgy, to cut bronze precisely enough for functional gears, mechanical design, to assemble a compact system with multiple moving layers. Few people in the ancient world could master all of these disciplines. The mechanism demonstrates that its creators were not just engineers. They were visionaries. Teaching, not just tools. The mechanism may have served as a teaching device for astronomy. Imagine an ancient classroom in Rhodes or Alexandria. Students could rotate a hand crank and watch the motions of the sun, moon, and planets on a dial. This physical demonstration would have made complex celestial mechanics tangible in a way that books or diagrams alone could not. This is a sophisticated form of visualization, centuries ahead of its time. Today, educators use simulations and planetarium software to achieve similar results, but the Greeks did it with gears and bronze. Cross-disciplinary knowledge. The Antikythera Mechanism also reveals something crucial about Hellenistic engineers. They were cross-disciplinary thinkers. They combined mathematics for ratios and calculations, astronomy to understand cycles of celestial bodies, engineering to design precise mechanical systems, artistry to inscribe intricate instructions and calibrate dials beautifully. This kind of integrated genius is rare even today. In the ancient world, it was revolutionary. Why, this genius was almost lost despite this brilliance. The knowledge behind the Antikythera Mechanism seems to have disappeared after the decline of the Hellenistic kingdoms and the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire. Many centers of learning were destroyed, libraries burned, schools closed. Knowledge that had once been carefully transmitted over generations vanished from the historical record. For centuries, the complexity of the Antikythera Mechanism seemed impossible. Medieval scholars looked at simple mechanical clocks and marveled, unaware that their predecessors had already built machines of equal or greater sophistication. Rediscovering ancient genius, modern research continues to uncover the mind behind the machine. X-ray scans revealed internal structures. Computer models simulate the dials and movements. Historians analyze inscriptions, learning not only about mechanical function, but also the educational methods of the time. These discoveries show that the Antikythera Mechanism is not just a machine, it is a window into the culture of Greek scientific thought. Lessons for today. Studying the mechanism teaches modern engineers and scientists several key lessons. Innovation can emerge from philosophy as much as necessity. Interdisciplinary knowledge can lead to breakthroughs. Lost knowledge is a reminder that progress is fragile. Without careful preservation, even brilliant discoveries can vanish. The Antikythera Mechanism is therefore both a technological marvel and a testament to human creativity. It reminds us that the ancient Greeks were not just philosophers and mathematicians. They were inventors, engineers, and visionaries capable of turning abstract knowledge into tangible machines. Conclusion. The Antikythera Mechanism is more than an artifact. It is evidence of ancient genius, of a culture that dared to understand the cosmos, to calculate its patterns, and to build a machine that could embody that knowledge. It stands as a monument to the brilliance of Hellenistic engineering, a reminder that human ingenuity has long been capable of feats that even today inspire awe. It challenges our assumptions about history, science, and the capabilities of civilizations that existed over 2,000 years ago, and it leaves us wondering, what other marvels did the ancient Greeks create only for their genius to be lost to time? One of the most astonishing features of the Antikythera Mechanism is that it was not just a calculator. It was a machine capable of predicting the future. It could forecast the motion of celestial bodies, lunar phases, and even eclipses centuries in advance. To fully grasp this, we need to explore both the mechanics and the astronomical knowledge encoded in the device. The cosmos as a clock. The ancient Greeks viewed the universe as an ordered, predictable system. Philosophers like Aristotle argued that celestial bodies moved according to mathematical laws. Observing these patterns allowed humans to anticipate events in the sky, a skill crucial for navigation, agriculture, and religious ceremonies. The Antikythera Mechanism embodies this belief. Its creators designed a mechanical model of the heavens, turning abstract astronomy into tangible movement. By rotating a small hand crank, users could simulate years of celestial motion in minutes. Predicting lunar phases. The moon's orbit is not simple. It moves in an elliptical path, speeding up and slowing down due to its proximity to Earth. Ancient Greek astronomers tracked this motion using careful observation over decades, noting the synodic month, the period from one new moon to the next, roughly 29.53 days. The Antikythera Mechanism accounted for this irregular motion using an ingenious system of gears. But one gear, called the epicyclic gear, simulated the moon's varying speed. As a result, the mechanism could display accurate lunar phases on a small dial. For an operator in 200 BC, this meant they could know exactly when the full moon would occur. A remarkable predictive capability centuries before mechanical clocks or printed calendars existed. The Saros cycle and eclipses, perhaps the most dramatic prediction the device could make, involved eclipses. Solar and lunar eclipses happen when the sun, earth, and moon align in precise ways. Observing this requires an understanding of two cycles: the Saros cycle, lasting approximately 18 years and 11 days, during which similar eclipses recur; the Metonic cycle, about 19 years, which aligns lunar months with solar years. The Antikythera Mechanism incorporated both. On the back of the device was a special dial for eclipse prediction. As gears turned, the dial indicated the timing of upcoming solar and lunar eclipses, enabling ancient observers to anticipate celestial events decades into the future. For a civilization that often interpreted eclipses as omens, having this knowledge was powerful. It allowed astronomers to demystify what others considered supernatural events, planetary movements beyond the sun and moon. The mechanism may have also tracked planets visible to the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. While reconstructing the exact planetary functions is still debated, research suggests some of the gear trains simulated planetary cycles, reflecting the Greeks' deep understanding of celestial mechanics. This means that operators could observe not just eclipses and lunar phases, but the general positions of planets relative to the zodiac centuries before telescopes existed. How did it work mechanically? The genius of the Antikythera mechanism lies in its gear ratios. Each gear translated knee cycle into another. A 53-tooth gear might represent the moon's orbit. A 223-tooth gear could model the Saros cycle for eclipses. These ratios allowed long-term astronomical events to be represented on compact dials, a feat of mechanical computation unparalleled in the ancient world. Researchers also discovered pointer dials which moved in sync with the internal gears. These pointers indicated lunar phases, months and years, zodiac positions, eclipses. In essence, the machine condensed decades of astronomical observation into a single, operable device. The role of observation creating such a predictive machine required precise observational data. Ancient Greek astronomers recorded celestial events over decades, meticulously noting lunar positions, solar cycles, and eclipse timings. They combined this knowledge with mathematics, calculating cycles and translating them into gear ratios. The Antikythera mechanism is a testament to this fusion of observation and engineering. It shows that the Greeks did not rely on guesswork. They built predictive systems grounded in empirical data. Why this was revolutionary even in the modern era, the idea of a mechanical device predicting celestial events seems miraculous. Consider that the machine predicted lunar phases accurately. It forecasted eclipses decades in advance. It may have displayed planetary positions, giving a holistic view of the night sky. All of this was done without electricity, computers, or modern instruments. Just bronze gears, careful calculation, and human ingenuity. No other device of similar complexity appears in the historical record for over a millennium. Cultural impact. The predictive abilities of the mechanism were more than scientific. They had practical and cultural significance. Agriculture. Farmers could plan planting and harvesting based on lunar cycles. Navigation. Sailors could anticipate celestial positions for orientation at sea. Religious ceremonies, eclipses, and lunar events often influenced rituals and festivals. Education. Scholars could demonstrate complex astronomical cycles in a tangible visual way. In all these ways, the Antikythera mechanism bridged science, society, and daily life, providing predictive knowledge that was both practical and awe-inspiring. Rediscovering the prediction power. Modern scientists have used X-ray tomography and 3D modeling to reconstruct missing parts of the mechanism. They've identified gears and dials representing lunar phases and eclipse cycles. Researchers can now simulate the device's operation, confirming its astronomical predictions were highly accurate. Every simulation reinforces the fact that the mechanism was not a novelty. It was a precise computational tool, centuries ahead of its time. A machine that saw the future in the context of 200 BC. The ability to predict celestial events was revolutionary. While ordinary people saw eclipses as ominous, the creators of the Antikythera Mechanism could foresee these events, transforming the unknown into knowledge. It is one thing to track the sun or moon. It is another to forecast events decades ahead with mechanical precision. The Antikythera Mechanism achieved this, making it arguably the first predictive computer in human history. Lessons for today: the machine teaches us. Ancient engineers could combine observation, mathematics, and mechanics to predict complex systems. Knowledge preservation is critical, otherwise, such genius can vanish. Even in the absence of modern technology, human creativity can translate abstract patterns into tangible tools. The Antikythera Mechanism reminds us that innovation is not exclusive to the modern era. Thousands of years ago, humans were already building machines that could see the future. Conclusion: the Antikythera Mechanism stands as a monument to predictive ingenuity. It demonstrates the ancient Greeks' understanding of astronomical cycles, their ability to translate this knowledge into mechanical computation, the enduring power of human curiosity and precision. It wasn't magic, it was science. It wasn't superstition, it was engineering. It was, in every sense, a machine that predicted the future. The more scientists study the Antikythera Mechanism, the more it becomes clear this was no ordinary device. Beneath its corroded bronze surface lies an intricate network of gears, dials, and inscriptions that reveal a level of sophistication unmatched for more than a millennium. To truly understand the Antikythera Mechanism, we must look inside, into the hidden complexity that makes it a marvel of engineering. Discovering the hidden gears: when the device was first recovered in 1901, it appeared as a lump of corroded bronze. Historians assumed it was a simple astronomical calculator, perhaps even a decorative object. But X-ray imaging and modern scanning techniques revealed something astonishing. The mechanism contained at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, each carefully crafted with precise teeth and arranged in multiple layers. Every gear had a purpose. Every ratio was calculated. The interior of the machine was a mechanical representation of the cosmos, with the sun, moon, and possibly planets driving the motion of dials and pointers. Unlike most ancient devices, where simplicity often ruled, the Antikythera Mechanism embraced complexity as a design principle. Layers of complexity: researchers have discovered that the mechanism contained multiple layers of gears, stacked and meshed in ways that would challenge modern clockmakers. Front layer: this layer featured dials representing the zodiac and calendar months. Pointers tracked the position of the sun and moon against these markers. Middle layer: the middle contained epicyclic gears for modeling the moon's irregular orbit. These gears corrected for variations in lunar speed, allowing accurate prediction of phases and eclipses. Back layer: a separate system of gears on the back tracked long-term cycles such as the Saros cycle for eclipses. Additional pointers may have shown metonic cycles, aligning lunar months with solar years. The interconnection of these layers, demonstrates incredible mechanical foresight. The engineers of 200 BC designed a compact system capable of simulating complex astronomical phenomena in real time. The precision of gear teeth: one of the most remarkable features is the precision with which each gear tooth was cut. Many gears had over 200 teeth, each carefully aligned to ensure smooth meshing. Even minor errors would have caused the entire system to fail. The craftsmanship required to produce these gears exceeds what most historians believed was possible in the ancient world. To cut such teeth, the Greeks likely used advanced tools and measurement techniques, demonstrating not only ingenuity but also mastery of metallurgy and mechanical principles. Differential gearing: perhaps the most sophisticated component is the differential gear. A differential gear allows one input shaft to produce two outputs that vary relative to each other, a principle essential for modeling the moon's uneven motion. Differential gears would not appear in European technology until 16th century clockwork. Yet the Antikythera Mechanism had won more than 1,500 years earlier. This shows that the device was not only advanced mechanically, but also mathematically, translating complex astronomical ratios into physical motion. Inscriptions, the instruction manual, hidden among the gears were tiny Greek inscriptions, engraved in minute detail on bronze plates. These inscriptions described the purpose of dials, cycles, and even eclipses. They served as user instructions, guiding operators on how to interpret the information displayed. Without these texts, the mechanism might have been impossible to use. Their presence indicates that the designers considered knowledge transfer, ensuring that future users could operate the device correctly. The inscriptions are also remarkably detailed, demonstrating a culture of documentation and precision. The complexity of astronomical modeling, the gears and inscriptions combined to produce a machine that modeled multiple astronomical phenomena, solar and lunar motion, predicting the positions of the sun and moon, lunar phases using epicyclic gearing for accurate timing, eclipses tracking Saros and metonic cycles, zodiac calendar aligning celestial events with cultural timekeeping. Each of these features required careful calibration. A single miscalculation could throw off predictions for decades. The Greeks achieved this precision using only mathematics, observation, and mechanical skill. No electricity, no computer, no modern tools. Compactness and integration. Another striking aspect is how all this complexity was compactly integrated. The entire mechanism fit in a shoebox-sized wooden case. Multiple gears, layers, and pointers operated smoothly in a limited space. This compact integration is similar to modern watchmaking or mechanical computing. Even today, engineers marvel at the device's design, which packs multi-layered astronomical computation into a small, operable form. Evidence of a tradition, the sophistication, the Antikythera Mechanism, suggests it was not a one-off invention. Researchers believe it represents the pinnacle of a lost tradition of mechanical engineering in the Hellenistic world. Ancient texts hint at similar devices, but none have survived. The mechanism may have been part of a line of advanced machines, each pushing the boundaries of mechanical and astronomical knowledge. Modern reconstruction with today's technology, scientists have reconstructed the mechanism virtually. 3D models simulate its gears, epicyclic systems, and pointers. These reconstructions confirm that it could accurately represent celestial motion over decades. Every new study uncovers previously unknown details, showing just how complex and ingenious the original design was. The more we study it, the clearer it becomes. The Antikythera Mechanism was a highly integrated computational system, unmatched until medieval Europe. Lessons from hidden complexity. Studying the mechanism teaches several lessons. Advanced engineering existed in antiquity. The Greeks were capable of precision far beyond what we imagined. Knowledge can be lost. A millennium would pass before similar mechanical sophistication reappeared. Integration of multiple disciplines, astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, and mechanical design is key to innovation. The device reminds us that human ingenuity is timeless and that the ancient world was far more capable than most historians once believed. Conclusion. The Antikythera Mechanism is a marvel of hidden complexity, a machine that encapsulates advanced mechanical engineering, precise astronomical knowledge, thoughtful documentation and instruction, integration of multiple systems in a compact design. Its hidden gears, dials, and inscriptions are not merely relics, they are a testament to the brilliance of Hellenistic engineers. By peering inside this machine, we glimpse the extraordinary capacity of the human mind over 2 millennia ago to model, predict, and understand the cosmos through sheer mechanical ingenuity. The discovery of the Antikythera Mechanism is awe-inspiring, but it also presents a profound mystery. How could a machine so advanced, so precise, and so ingenious simply vanish from history for over 1,500 years? To answer that, we need to explore the rise and fall of ancient knowledge, the fragility of human learning, and the historical forces that erased technological achievements from memory. The Hellenistic world, a pinnacle of knowledge, the Antikythera Mechanism was built during the Hellenistic era, circa 200 BC, a period marked by extraordinary scientific and mathematical achievement. Cities such as Alexandria, Rhodes, and Athens were centers of learning, filled with libraries, observatories, and workshops. Scholars and engineers studied the heavens, developed sophisticated mathematics, and created machines capable of simulating celestial motion. The Antikythera Mechanism represents the pinnacle of this tradition, a machine that calculated, predicted, and visualized the cosmos in mechanical form. But while it was groundbreaking, it was also exceptionally rare. This technology was likely limited to elite engineers and scholars. It was not widespread, and knowledge of its design may have been held by only a few. Fragility of knowledge, even the most brilliant technology, is vulnerable to social, political, and cultural disruption. After the Hellenistic period, the Mediterranean world underwent profound changes. Roman conquests. The Roman Empire absorbed Greek cities, reorganizing political and cultural life. Shifts in scientific focus. Roman engineering prioritized practical infrastructure, roads, aqueducts, buildings, rather than precision astronomical devices. Loss of scientific institutions. Libraries, observatories, and schools were often neglected or destroyed. Knowledge depends not only on invention, but on transmission. Without institutions to preserve and teach it, even extraordinary discoveries can be lost. Catastrophes and cultural decline. Several major events contributed to the disappearance of advanced Greek engineering. Destruction of the Library of Alexandria. Multiple fires over centuries destroyed countless scrolls containing scientific treatises. Political instability, wars, invasions, and civil unrest disrupted centers of learning. Economic decline. Sophisticated workshops and skilled artisans were no longer supported by wealthy patrons. The result, technologies like the Antikythera Mechanism vanished, not because they were impossible to reproduce, but because the knowledge of how to create them disappeared. Why the technology didn't survive? Creating a device like the Antikythera Mechanism required integration of multiple disciplines: astronomy to understand celestial cycles, mathematics to calculate gear ratios, engineering to design precise mechanical systems, metallurgy to manufacture durable, finely toothed gears. Losing any one of these areas would prevent the full device from being recreated. For centuries, these domains were fragmented or deprioritized. European societies focused on practical engineering, watermills, catapults, and bridges, rather than celestial computation. As a result, the knowledge required to produce machines like the Antikythera Mechanism did not survive in any systematic form. Rediscovery. After a millennium, it wasn't until the 14th century that Europe began to see devices approaching the complexity of the Antikythera Mechanism. Mechanical clocks appeared, capable of tracking hours and days. Planetary clocks and orreries gradually emerged in the Renaissance, modeling celestial motion. Even then, these were reinventions created without knowledge of the Hellenistic tradition. The Antikythera Mechanism illustrates a chilling historical truth. Technological knowledge can leap forward and then regress. Ng gaps of centuries in human achievement. Lessons from lost knowledge. The disappearance of the mechanism's technology teaches profound lessons. Progress is not linear. The Antikythera Mechanism predates similar European devices by over 1,500 years. Human innovation can peak and decline, depending on societal conditions. Knowledge requires preservation. Institutions like libraries, universities, and workshops are essential. When these are destroyed, even the most sophisticated inventions can vanish. Interdisciplinary mastery is fragile. The mechanism required multiple specialized skills. Losing expertise in one area can erase the ability to recreate entire systems. The mystery remains. Even today, historians ask, were there other machines like the Antikythera Mechanism? Ancient texts hint at complex mechanical devices built by inventors such as Archimedes, yet no surviving examples have been found, except this single remarkable artifact. It is possible that many Hellenistic inventions were lost during the political and cultural upheavals of the Roman and early medieval periods. The Antikythera Mechanism may represent the last surviving example of a technological tradition that otherwise vanished from history. Reconstructing lost knowledge. Modern scientists and engineers have attempted to reconstruct the device using high-resolution X-ray scans to reveal hidden gears, 3D modeling to simulate astronomical functions, archaeological comparison with other ancient mechanical fragments. These efforts show just how ingenious the original creators were and highlight the gaps left by lost knowledge. By studying the mechanism, we glimpse both the extraordinary capabilities of ancient engineers the fragility of human progress when knowledge is not preserved or transmitted. Why this matters today, the Antikythera Mechanism is more than a curiosity. It's a warning and an inspiration. Warning, even advanced civilizations can lose knowledge. Societal collapse, wars, or neglect can erase achievements that took generations to create. Inspiration, humans are capable of extraordinary ingenuity. Even without modern tools, the Greeks created a machine that predicted the cosmos with precision. It reminds us that progress is a collective effort, dependent on education, preservation, and the sharing of knowledge. Conclusion: the story of the Antikythera Mechanism is not just about a machine, it is about lost human potential. It demonstrates that the ancient Greeks achieved technological heights that would not be reached again for centuries. Societal upheavals can erase even the most brilliant knowledge. The preservation of learning is essential for human progress. For over 1,500 years, this knowledge lay hidden until its accidental recovery from the Aegean Sea reminded us of what was possible. The Antikythera Mechanism stands as both a monument to ancient ingenuity and a lesson in the fragility of human achievement. The Antikythera Mechanism is a wonder of engineering, yet its brilliance raises a haunting question. Why did this technology vanish for over 1,500 years? To understand the disappearance of this extraordinary knowledge, we must examine the historical, cultural, and political forces that erased the ability to create such machines, and why humanity lost touch with a technological peak that had been centuries ahead of its time. The fragility of knowledge. Advanced technology relies not only on invention, but on societal support. Skilled artisans and engineers must have resources and time. Observational data must be recorded and shared. Institutions must preserve and transmit knowledge across generations. The Antikythera Mechanism depended on all these factors. It required expertise in astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, and mechanical engineering. Lose any one of these, and the ability to reproduce the device disappears. Unfortunately, the centuries following its creation were marked by instability and cultural shifts that undermined these foundations. Political upheavals. The Hellenistic world, which produced the mechanism, was characterized by scientific curiosity and political fragmentation. Greek city-states and kingdoms encouraged learning, but empire building and wars often disrupted scientific communities. When the Roman Empire rose to power, it absorbed Greek cities and knowledge systems. While Romans admired Greek science, their priorities were practical engineering, roads, aqueducts, and military technology. Precision devices like the Antikythera Mechanism were specialized luxury items, not necessary for Roman infrastructure or daily life. As a result, the institutional and societal support for complex astronomical machines diminished, making their production increasingly rare. Cultural shifts. During the Roman era, the culture of systematic scientific inquiry gradually declined in certain areas. Philosophical schools still existed, but astronomy became more theoretical than applied. The widespread use of mechanical calculators and precision engineering disappeared. The device may have been understood by a few elite scholars, but without a broad tradition to teach and preserve this knowledge, it slowly vanished. In short, the culture that nurtured the Antikythera Mechanism ceased to exist, leaving the machine as a lone testament to an otherwise lost era of ingenuity. Economic constraints. Creating a device like the Antikythera Mechanism required rare materials and skilled labor. Bronze for gears, wooden casings, and precise tools for cutting teeth. Artisans who could calculate ratios and assemble moving layers with tolerances of fractions of a millimeter. These resources were expensive. When economic stability waned, such specialized devices became unsustainable luxuries. Even if the knowledge existed in principle, without resources and incentives, it could not be practically transmitted. Technological regression. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, 5th century AD, Europe entered the so-called Dark Ages. Many classical texts were lost, centers of learning were destroyed or abandoned. Sophisticated mechanical knowledge became increasingly rare. Meanwhile, other civilizations, like the Byzantines or Islamic scholars, preserved portions of Greek knowledge, but geared astronomical machines, like the Antikythera Mechanism, were not replicated. It would take centuries before mechanical innovation in clocks and orreries began to approach the complexity of this ancient device. Isolation of expertise. The Antikythera Mechanism may have been the product of a small group of elite engineers. Their knowledge was highly specialized and not widely documented. If this small cadre perished, moved, or lost patronage, the knowledge vanished with them. This highlights a broader historical lesson. When innovation is concentrated in a few hands, it is vulnerable to disappearance, loss of observational tradition. The machine's accuracy depended on decades of astronomical observation, tracking lunar cycles, solar positions, eclipses, and planetary movement, recording these observations and translating them into gear ratios. Once systematic observation declined, the empirical foundation for such machines was lost. No matter how skilled engineers might be, without data, reconstruction is impossible. Religious and social factors. Some historians speculate that cultural or religious shifts may have discouraged certain types of scientific work. Knowledge of celestial predictions could be seen as divining or forbidden insight. In societies where religious authority was paramount, mechanical cosmology might not have been encouraged. Combined with political upheaval, these factors created an environment hostile to advanced experimentation, ensuring that the Antikythera Mechanism's technology remained isolated. Rediscovery in modern times. It was only in 1901, when divers found the wreck off the coast of Antikythera, that humanity rediscovered this lost marvel. For centuries, scholars had no idea that such mechanical sophistication existed in antiquity. Modern technology, X-ray imaging, 3D modeling, and computer simulations was needed to uncover its secrets. The machine serves as a stark reminder. Knowledge can be created and lost, only to be rediscovered centuries later. Lessons from the disappearance of the Antikythera Mechanism's technology teaches profound lessons. Innovation alone is not enough. It must be supported, documented, and transmitted. Societal stability is crucial. Political, economic, and cultural disruption can erase knowledge. Interdisciplinary skills are fragile. When expertise is concentrated and not widely taught, technologies can vanish. Progress is non-linear. Humanity can reach peaks of sophistication, then regress before rediscovering lost methods. Reflection on human history. The Antikythera Mechanism represents both our potential and our vulnerability. Potential, because humans were capable of predictive, mechanical computation over 2,000 years ago. Vulnerability, because such knowledge can disappear, leaving future generations unaware of past achievements. It is a reminder that history is not a straight line of progress, and that even extraordinary inventions can vanish without careful preservation. Conclusion. The technology of the Antikythera Mechanism vanished due to a confluence of factors: political upheaval and empire transitions, cultural shifts away from applied scientific engineering, economic constraints limiting specialized craftsmanship, concentration of expertise in small, vulnerable groups, loss of systematic astronomical observation. For over 1,500 years, this knowledge was lost, until modern archaeology and technology allowed us to rediscover a marvel of human ingenuity. The story of its disappearance is a lesson in the fragility of knowledge, the impermanence of civilizations, and the resilience of human curiosity. It reminds us that even the most advanced technology can vanish, but rediscovery is possible when curiosity and innovation intersect. For centuries, the Antikythera Mechanism lay hidden beneath the Aegean Sea, its secrets locked within corroded bronze and fragmented gears. It was only in modern times that science and technology allowed us to uncover its astonishing complexity, revealing a machine that was centuries ahead of its time. Discovery. The beginning of a mystery. In 1901, a team of sponge divers explored a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera. Among the treasures recovered were fragments of corroded bronze and wood, initially thought to be ordinary shipwreck debris. One piece, however, contained interlocking gears. Scholars realized they had found something unusual, a device that suggested mechanical sophistication unlike anything known from the ancient world. The mechanism remained largely mysterious for decades. Only fragments survived, and early attempts at reconstruction were limited by the corrosion and complexity of the gears. The challenge of corrosion. The mechanism had spent over 2,000 years underwater, exposing it to salt, pressure, and chemical reactions. Bronze parts were heavily corroded. Many gears were missing or broken. Wood and inscriptions had decayed. This made understanding the device nearly impossible through traditional methods. Researchers could see gears and dials, but could not determine their function or how they fit together. It took a revolution in imaging technology to begin unraveling the mechanism's mysteries. X-ray imaging and tomography in the 1970s and 1980s, researchers applied X-ray technology to the mechanism. This allowed them to see inside the corroded fragments without damaging the artifact. Later, high-resolution 3D X-ray tomography revealed hidden gears obscured by corrosion, multiple layers of interconnected gear trains, fine inscriptions previously invisible to the naked eye. These scans transformed the Antikythera Mechanism from a mysterious artifact into a readable, analyzable machine. Computer modeling with the detailed scans, scientists began digital reconstruction. 3D models allowed researchers to simulate the movement of gears. Epicyclic systems modeling the moon's irregular orbit could be virtually tested. It predicted functions for dials, lunar phases, eclipses, and zodiac positions were verified. Computer simulations revealed that the mechanism could track lunar and solar cycles, predict eclipses decades in advance, possibly model the motion of visible planets. This confirmed what ancient observers could only speculate. The device was an operational analog computer, centuries ahead of its time. The role of inscriptions, high-resolution imaging also uncovered Greek inscriptions engraved on the bronze surfaces. These inscriptions served as instructional guides, describing the purpose of dials and how to read the outputs. Some even indicated cycles of eclipses and lunar months. Analysis of the inscriptions helped researchers understand the relationship between gears and celestial events, proving the machine was not a decorative object, but a functional astronomical calculator. Collaborative international research. Modern rediscovery has been the result of decades of collaborative research across disciplines. Archaeologists studied the fragment's context, historians interpreted inscriptions and historical references, engineers reconstructed gear systems and ratios. Astronomers verified the accuracy of predicted celestial events. Institutions in Greece, the United Kingdom, and the United States have all contributed to unraveling the machine's secrets, demonstrating the power of interdisciplinary study. Recent discoveries, recent reconstructions have revealed astonishing features. The mechanism contained at least 30 interlocking gears, possibly more. It incorporated differential gears to model the moon's elliptical orbit, a technology thought to appear only in the 16th century. It predicted lunar phases and eclipses using the Saros and Metonic cycles. Dials on the back may have indicated long-term astronomical cycles, possibly over decades. These disco varies confirm that the mechanism was not only functional, but highly accurate, a testament to Hellenistic ingenuity. Understanding its complexity, modern research has revealed the Antikythera mechanism was modular with separate systems for lunar motion, solar motion, and eclipse prediction. The precision of gear teeth indicates advanced metallurgical and mechanical skills. The inscriptions show intentional educational design, likely intended to teach or demonstrate astronomy. By combining archaeology, engineering, and computational modeling, researchers have shown that this machine was the first known analog computer. Broader implications. The rediscovery of the mechanism has reshaped our understanding of ancient technology. Engineering sophistication existed far earlier than thought. The device predates similar European mechanical devices by over 1,500 years. Knowledge can be lost and rediscovered. The mechanism illustrates the fragility of technological advancement and the importance of preserving knowledge. Interdisciplinary study is key. Only through the collaboration of historians, engineers, archaeologists, and astronomers could the mechanism be understood. Lessons from modern analysis. Modern analysis teaches us that technology can be hidden for millennia, waiting for tools and curiosity to uncover it. Complex knowledge often requires careful preservation and collaboration to be rediscovered. Ancient civilizations, like the Hellenistic Greeks, achieved levels of ingenuity that rival or surpass expectations. The mechanism is more than a historical curiosity. It is a bridge between ancient ingenuity and modern scientific investigation. Conclusion. The modern rediscovery of the Antikythera mechanism has revealed its hidden gears and layers that simulate celestial motion, its inscriptions and dials which provided instructions and predictions, its astonishing accuracy and mechanical sophistication. Through X-rays, 3D modeling, and interdisciplinary research, we have finally unlocked the secrets of a machine centuries ahead of its time. The Antikythera Mechanism stands as a testament to both ancient genius and modern curiosity, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge transcends time. It is a symbol of human ingenuity, lost and found, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern worlds. The discovery and analysis of the Antikythera Mechanism has done more than reveal a sophisticated ancient device. It has revolutionized our understanding of history, science, and technology. For centuries, historians assumed that mechanical computation and advanced astronomical modeling were the product of the Middle Ages or Renaissance Europe. The Antikythera Mechanism shattered that assumption, forcing scholars to rethink the capabilities of Hellenistic engineers and astronomers. Redefining ancient technology before the mechanism's rediscovery, the conventional historical narrative suggested that mechanical computation was impossible before the 14th century. Complex astronomical instruments were a later European innovation. Ancient civilizations lacked the precision engineering skills necessary for interlocking gears and epicyclic systems. The Antikythera Mechanism proved all of these assumptions wrong. It contains 30+ interlocking gears, including differential gears, epicyclic systems to model irregular lunar motion, dials and pointers showing lunar phases, eclipses, and possibly planetary positions, Greek inscriptions serving as instructions for operation. This level of sophistication demonstrates that ancient engineers were capable of mechanical computation centuries ahead of previously recognized history. Shifting our view of the Hellenistic era, historians have long celebrated the Hellenistic period 323-31 BC for its intellectual achievements. Scholars like Archimedes and Hipparchus are known for theoretical contributions in mathematics and astronomy. The Antikythera Mechanism adds a practical dimension to this understanding. It shows that Hellenistic scientists applied theory to engineering. The device represents an early analog computer capable of simulating complex celestial cycles. It demonstrates that technology and science were intertwined, not separate pursuits. In other words, the mechanism forces us to recognize the Hellenistic Greeks as engineers as much as philosophers. Rewriting the history of computing until the mechanism's study, historians often considered mechanical computing as a Renaissance achievement, with devices like orreries in the 16th and 17th centuries, astronomical clocks in medieval Europe, mechanical calculators in the 17th century. The Antikythera Mechanism predates these inventions by over 1,500 years, showing that human ingenuity was capable of complex computation far earlier than believed. The gap in technological development was not due to incapability, but to historical and societal disruptions that caused knowledge loss. It challenges the linear narrative of progress, proving that ancient civilizations achieved levels of engineering sophistication that rival early modern Europe. Impact on archaeology and history. The mechanism has also reshaped archaeological and historical methodologies. Interdisciplinary research. Its study required archaeologists, historians, engineers, astronomers, and computer scientists to collaborate. This has encouraged a new model of historical research, re-evaluation of ancient artifacts. The device has prompted scholars to re-examine other artifacts for evidence of advanced technology, previously overlooked as simple or decorative. Understanding knowledge transmission. Understanding knowledge transmission. It has highlighted how knowledge can disappear, persist in fragments, or be rediscovered, influencing our interpretation of historical innovation. Changing perceptions of ancient science, the mechanism has also forced historians to reconsider ancient scientific practices. It shows that Greeks understood astronomical cycles with remarkable precision. It demonstrates that mechanical devices could be used to predict future events, not just record observations. It provides evidence that teaching and knowledge dissemination were priorities, as seen in the inscriptions designed to guide users. This challenges previous stereotypes of the ancient world as primitive in applied science and mechanical design. Inspiration for modern engineering. The Antikythera Mechanism has inspired modern engineers and scientists in several ways. Complex mechanical design. Its interlocking gears demonstrate early mastery of gear ratios and differential mechanisms. Analog computation. It is a precursor to analog computers used in the 19th and 20th centuries. Innovation from observation. The mechanism shows how careful observation of natural phenomena can lead to technological breakthroughs. It serves as a bridge between ancient innovation and modern technological understanding, reminding us that ingenuity is timeless. Educational and cultural impact. The mechanism has also impacted education and popular culture. Museums display replicas, inspiring students to explore ancient science and engineering. Documentaries, articles, and exhibitions highlight the intersection of history and technology, bringing ancient achievements to modern audiences. It serves as a tangible example that human creativity and curiosity are constants across time. Through this, the mechanism fosters a deeper appreciation of ancient civilizations' scientific and engineering achievements, lessons for modern civilization. The story of the Antikythera Mechanism offers profound lessons for contemporary society. Preserved knowledge, technological advancement is fragile. Libraries, documentation, and education are essential. Interdisciplinary and innovation, combining multiple skills, astronomy, engineering, mathematics, can produce breakthroughs. Rethink linear progress. History is not a straight line. Past civilizations were capable of amazing technological feats. Curiosity and observation, systematic observation, careful measurement, and experimentation can yield extraordinary results, even with simple materials. The Antikythera Mechanism demonstrates that innovation is both a product of human intellect and of cultural support systems. Conclusion: the Antikythera Mechanism has fundamentally changed our understanding of history. It proves that ancient civilizations could build machines centuries ahead of their time. It shows that technological knowledge is vulnerable and easily lost. It challenges assumptions about the linearity of human progress. It underscores the importance of interdisciplinary thinking, observation, and preservation. In essence, the mechanism is more than a device. It is a symbol of human potential, a testament to ingenuity lost and rediscovered, and a reminder that history holds more surprises than we often realize. The Antikythera Mechanism connects us to our ancestors, demonstrating that the human drive to understand and predict the cosmos is timeless. When we think of computers, our minds leap to silicon chips, screens, and keyboards, yet the story of computation begins over 2,000 years ago. In a small corroded bronze machine, recovered from a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera, the Antikythera Mechanism is often called the world's first analog computer, and its study reveals that the roots of computing stretch far deeper into history. Why than most people imagine. What makes a computer? Today, we define a computer as a device that processes input data, performs calculations, or operations, produces an output, based on rules or algorithms. The Antikythera Mechanism fulfills all three criteria centuries before electronic or mechanical computers were reinvented in Europe. Input: the operator turned a hand crank, setting the machine into motion. Processing: a system of interlocking gears translated this motion into calculations representing the positions of celestial bodies, lunar phases, and eclipses. Output: dials and pointers displayed astronomical events, providing predictions up to decades into the future. By this definition, the mechanism is a fully functional computational device, not a toy or decorative artifact. Analog computation in antiquity, unlike modern digital computers, which rely on binary code and electronic circuits, the Antikythera Mechanism is an analog computer. Motion and rotation are continuous, not discrete. Gear ratios encode mathematical relationships directly in physical form. Predictions emerge from the interaction of mechanical components rather than software instructions. This means the ancient Greeks were capable of mechanical modeling and prediction, using only bronze, wood, and ingenuity. Gears as logic: the mechanism's gear trains perform the same function as modern computational logic. Ratios translate time into celestial motion. Differential gears simulate the moon's irregular orbit. Pointers and dials translate numerical outcomes into visual displays. In effect, the Antikythera Mechanism encodes mathematical formulas into moving parts, much like early 20th century analog computers did. A precursor to modern computers, consider the parallels between the Antikythera Mechanism and later computing devices. Oris and planetary clocks, 16th-18th centuries. These mechanical devices tracked planetary motion, inspired by observation and mathematics, similar to the Antikythera Mechanism. Babbage's analytical engine, 1830s. Charles Babbage envisioned a programmable mechanical computer. The Antikythera Mechanism, though not programmable, demonstrated mechanical computation centuries earlier. Analog computers, 20th century. Machines for simulating differential equations or predicting trajectories operate on the same principle: gears, levers, and continuous movement to perform calculations. The Antikythera mechanism is thus a proto-computer, bridging antiquity and modern computational thought. Programming without code. One of the most fascinating aspects of the mechanism is its programming by design. Each gear and dial was carefully calibrated to represent specific astronomical cycles. There were no instructions or software. The computation is embedded in the mechanical structure itself. By turning the hand crank, operators could explore multiple time periods, predicting solar and lunar events accurately. In modern terms, the mechanism is a physical algorithm, performing calculations without electricity or code. Implications for the history of computing. The Antikythera mechanism has transformed our understanding of how human computation evolved. Computational thinking existed in antiquity. The Greeks used mechanical systems to model natural phenomena mathematically. Engineering can encode algorithms. By turning gears and designing ratios, engineers created a device that calculates outcomes automatically. Innovation can leap centuries ahead. The mechanism predates the first mechanical clocks, orias, and analog computers by over 1,500 years. This challenges the narrative that computing is a modern invention. Humans have been building calculating devices and predictive machines for millennia. Lost knowledge and rediscovery. The Antikythera mechanism also highlights a key theme in the history of computers. Knowledge can be lost. After 200 BC, the technology disappeared, likely due to political, cultural, and economic upheaval. Mechanical computing would not reappear until the 14th century clocks, then Babbage's engines in the 19th century. Its rediscovery reminds us that technological advancement is not strictly linear. Sometimes brilliance can vanish, only to be rediscovered centuries later. Educational significance. Today, the Antikythera mechanism is used as a teaching tool for history of computing, demonstrating that computation predates modern machines by millennia. Engineering and mechanical design, showing how epicyclic gears and differential systems encode complex calculations. Astronomy and mathematics, linking observational science with mechanical modeling. It is a tangible example of how ancient ingenuity foreshadowed modern technology, inspiring engineers, historians, and students alike. Cultural impact. The mechanism has also influenced broader public understanding. It challenges assumptions about ancient civilizations being primitive. It has become a symbol of human curiosity and computational thinking across time. Replicas and exhibitions allow people to interact with a working analog computer from antiquity, bridging the gap between past and present. The Antikythera mechanism is more than a machine. It is a cultural icon, demonstrating the timeless nature of computation. Lessons for modern technology study in T. The mechanism offers lessons for modern computer science. Simplicity can be powerful. Mechanical gears perform complex calculations without electricity or digital circuits. Interdisciplinary knowledge is essential. Astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, and mechanical engineering combined to create the device, preserve and share knowledge. Centuries of lost knowledge delayed the development of similar devices. Modern computing thrives on documentation, collaboration, and open access. Innovation is timeless. Human curiosity and problem-solving can produce extraordinary results, regardless of era. Conclusion. The Antikythera mechanism is a profoundly significant artifact in the history of computing. It demonstrates that mechanical computation existed over 2,000 years ago. It shows that the principles of analog computing were understood long before the digital age. It reshapes our understanding of technological progress, showing that the ancients achieved feats we once thought impossible. From a corroded shipwreck in the Aegean Sea, this device has reconnected us with our computational heritage, proving that the human drive to calculate, predict, and understand is as ancient as civilization itself. The Antikythera mechanism is not just history. It is the beginning of the story of computation, reminding us that human ingenuity has always reached for the stars and found ways to predict their motion. The Antikythera mechanism is not just a relic of the past. It is a symbol of human ingenuity, curiosity, and resilience. Over 2 millennia after its creation, this small bronze device continues to inspire scientists, engineers, historians, and the general public alike. Its story reminds us that innovation is timeless, and that even in an age without electricity or digital technology, humans were capable of extraordinary feats. A testament to human ingenuity, the mechanism's intricate network of gears, pointers, and dials demonstrates that ancient engineers could translate abstract mathematics into physical systems. They understood complex astronomical cycles, such as lunar phases, eclipses, and planetary motion. They created functional machines that anticipated principles later seen in mechanical clocks and analog computers. This level of sophistication challenges the assumption that technological progress only accelerates over time. It shows that curiosity and creativity have always driven human innovation. The Antikythera Mechanism inspires us to reconsider the capabilities of our ancestors and to appreciate the intellectual achievements of civilizations long gone. Inspiring modern science and engineering even in the 21st century, the Antikythera Mechanism continues to influence modern science and engineering. Mechanical engineering, its epicyclic gears and differential systems, serve as models for precision mechanical design. Engineers study its compact layout and efficiency as a lesson in spatial problem-solving. Astronomers are inspired by how the Greeks predicted celestial events using observation and mechanical calculation. The device demonstrates that empirical observation, mathematics, and modeling can create predictive systems, a principle still fundamental in science today. Computational thinking, the mechanism is considered the world's first analog computer. It teaches the modern world that computation doesn't require electronics, and algorithms and logic can exist in mechanical form. By bridging ancient ingenuity and modern technical understanding, the Antikythera Mechanism continues to stimulate innovation across disciplines. Educational impact. The mechanism has become a cornerstone of education in history, archaeology, and engineering. Interactive replicas allow students to explore mechanical computation firsthand. Museum exhibitions highlight its scientific, cultural, and historical significance, making it accessible to a global audience. It encourages critical thinking, showing that historical artifacts can teach lessons about mathematics, science, and innovation. Through these experiences, the mechanism fosters a sense of wonder and curiosity, motivating the next generation of scientists, historians, and engineers. Rediscovery as a symbol of perseverance. The story of the mechanism's rediscovery is itself inspiring. Forgotten for over 2,000 years, it lay hidden in a shipwreck near Antikythera. Modern technology, X-rays, tomography, 3D modeling, was required to decode its secrets. Collaboration across archaeology, history, engineering, and astronomy unlocked its mysteries. This process highlights the value of persistence, interdisciplinary collaboration, and the courage to explore the unknown. It is a reminder that even long-lost knowledge can be recovered and celebrated, inspiring ongoing curiosity and discovery. Bridging the past and present, the Antikythera Mechanism serves as a bridge between ancient and modern civilizations. It demonstrates that humans have always sought to understand and predict the universe. It links the ancient Hellenistic engineers with modern computational scientists, showing that intellectual curiosity transcends time. It reminds us that technology is not new, but a continuum of human innovation. By appreciating the mechanism, we see ourselves as part of a long lineage of thinkers and inventors, all striving to explore, calculate, and understand. A source of inspiration for creativity beyond science and engineering, the Antikythera Mechanism inspires creativity and imagination. Artists and designers draw inspiration from its intricate gears and design. Writers and filmmakers imagine the world, now which such machines were conceived. It encourages a philosophical reflection on human ingenuity, innovation, and the mysteries of history. It serves as a reminder that invention often requires both imagination and meticulous craftsmanship, a lesson that applies across all creative endeavors. Lessons for humanity. The Antikythera Mechanism teaches us profound lessons for today's world. Curiosity drives progress. Even with simple materials, humans can achieve remarkable feats through observation and creativity. Knowledge must be preserved. Societal collapse, war, or neglect can erase advanced technology, but rediscovery can restore its lessons. Interdisciplinary thinking is powerful. Astronomy, mathematics, engineering, and craftsmanship came together to create the mechanism. Modern problems benefit from the same cross-disciplinary approach. Innovation is timeless. Great ideas can emerge anywhere, in any era. The mechanism reminds us that our ancestors were capable of brilliance that rivals our own. The mechanism in popular culture, the Antikythera Mechanism, has captured the imagination of the public. Documentaries, books, and articles explore its mystery and ingenuity. It is a central example in courses on history of science, archaeology, and engineering. Replicas allow people to see, touch, and interact with a 2,000-year-old computer, making history tangible and inspiring curiosity. Through these cultural channels, it continues to educate, inspire, and challenge assumptions about the capabilities of the ancient world. A symbol of human potential, ultimately, the Antikythera Mechanism inspires us because it represents the enduring potential of human creativity. It shows that innovation is not bound by technology or time. It reminds us that curiosity, precision, and imagination can create devices once thought impossible. It bridges the gap between ancient brilliance and modern scientific discovery, proving that human ingenuity is a timeless force. Even today, it challenges engineers, scientists, and historians to push the boundaries of what we believe is possible. Conclusion: the Antikythera Mechanism remains an enduring symbol of inspiration. It highlights the ingenuity of ancient civilizations. It demonstrates the power of interdisciplinary collaboration. It reminds us that knowledge can be lost and recovered, and that discovery is often a journey across time. It inspires future generations to observe, calculate, create, and innovate, just as the ancient Greeks did over 2,000 years ago. In a world dominated by digital technology, this ancient analog computer reminds us that the human drive to understand and predict the cosmos is eternal. From bronze gears in a shipwreck to the halls of modern museums, the Antikythera Mechanism continues to spark curiosity, challenge assumptions, and inspire human achievement. It is a testament to the timelessness of human creativity, a bridge between the past and the future, and a reminder that even the oldest artifacts can still teach us about the possibilities of tomorrow.